Uh, we have a request to ban fluoride by Bryan Moss, who I know is a town meeting member, and my guests are Shrewsbury residents because we talk about Shrewsbury a lot. So, Bryan, why don't you tell us what's on your chest for banning the fluoride?
Sure. So, community water fluoridation, based on ethics, should have never started, and based on science, should be ended. It's a very ethical argument. It's one where they are artificially fluorinating the community drinking water supply, which with, shockingly enough, an industrial hazardous waste that is a byproduct from the phosphate fertilizer industry. So you're not getting the fluoride that the pharmaceutical grade that you would get in your toothpaste. You're getting actually a byproduct of the phosphate fertilizer industry. With that, with it being added to the drinking water supply, the FDA considers fluoride an unapproved drug. And because it's considered an unapproved drug, community water fluoridation is therefore mass medication, right? So it's being delivered to everybody, regardless of your health status, your age, your weight. It's being delivered to everybody. And that's a problem ethically because there are people that don't want to drink water that's fluorinated, and for good reason. If you look at the last couple of months, there's been many studies that have come out about the health risks of water fluoridation. And one of those would be a link to attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So they're seeing a relationship between water fluoridation and ADHD. Another one is a relationship with lower IQ scores. And another one with hypothyroidism. So these studies have been coming out over this past spring, showing a direct link to some of these health risks. So we have the health risks coming in, and then even more interestingly is on the science side of things. With those three, we've got another article that's come out, more research that's come out, and this one's very interesting. It's by the Cochrane collaboration, which is a group of doctors and researchers known for their comprehensive reviews, which are widely regarded as the gold standard of scientific rigor in assessing effectiveness of public health policies. And they recently set out to find out if fluoridation reduces cavities. And sure enough, when they went and looked, they didn't find evidence of it. And we actually have, I have a quote here from a scientist at UMass Amherst that was not involved in the work, but frankly, this is pretty shocking. The study does not support the use of fluoride in drinking water. So you take the combination of both things, you say there's health risks associated with community water fluoridation. There's research to say that there's not much behind the effectiveness of reducing tooth decay. And you look at those two, put them together, and then take the strong ethical argument to say it's really a right to choose, right? It really shouldn't be public officials saying you must take this medication. You have no choice. You must, without informed consent. So when it comes to informed consent, it really should be an individual choice whether somebody wants to consume fluoride or not. And one thing to note about consuming fluoride is there's a big difference between topical and systematic. So the CDC itself has come out to say the primary benefits of fluoride are topical and not systemic, which means ingesting fluoride does not give you the benefits of, if you believe they give you the benefits, that ingesting it is not the way to do it. It's topical. Applying them to the teeth, brushing the teeth, putting the topical treatments on, that is where the CDC says the benefit is. So by ingesting fluoride, you're getting none of the benefits, yet all of the health risks. You're exposing your entire body and every tissue in your body to fluoride. Now fluoride, it came out several years ago. They did a study and found that they associated it with other developmental neurotoxins. So it's now grouped with other chemicals like mercury and lead and arsenic. And fluoride is in that group. So this isn't, some benign substance we're adding to it. It's actually has a pretty good known toxicity to it. So we're adding this toxic substance to the water, taking it into our bodies for a lifetime. So we're drinking this over a lifetime. I'm a lifelong Shrewsbury resident and have been taking this. And will have to continue taking this until it is stopped for the rest of my life. Hopefully not.
You can always move.
Right, and that's a good point. They're the promoters of fluoridation, which you've heard a lot about the CDC saying it's one of the top 10 public health success stories in this last century. But it's not the CDC, it's the Oral Health Division of the CDC, which is a small group of about 30 people. It's not the entire CDC saying that it's, the saying this.
Well, my friend did some research, and he found that in studies that communities that had fluoride in the water and those that didn't, all the way across the country, they were all improving in less cavities, no matter if you had it in the water or not, and it has to do with nutrition. We all get better nutrition, therefore we have a little better health, and including our teeth. And so, like you said, they can't find a direct cause and effect of having fluoride in the water and your tooth decay because it probably isn't there. Right. Your nutrition is the one that's driving this whole thing.
Or maybe the fact that virtually every toothpaste today has fluoride in it, and I, for one, am using. I brush my teeth 4 times a day, twice in the morning, twice in the night. The first time with just the regular, I use Colgate or Crest with fluoride. Then I have prescription fluoride toothpaste. It's produced by Colgate, but it's a prescription. And I brush my teeth with that because of receding gum line, and you have a chance of getting cavity in your teeth along the gum line, and that has really helped me a lot. And I wonder if I really need the fluoride in my water. Apparently it wasn't, because I was still getting cavities along my gum line, and then when I started with the advanced fluoride toothpaste, that decay stopped.
I think you can still buy toothpaste without fluoride in it. I think Tom's toothpaste from Michigan or something.
Right.
You can still find it somewhere. And so I'm thinking about doing that myself.
If you don't want
the last time I was in the dentist chair, they said, because I have dry mouth, which is another problem, you need more protection. And so I need to have more fluoride. I'm saying, yeah. And then the lady who does my teeth, she says, well, not by drinking more water with it, not by ingesting. It'd have to be the paste on toothpaste type or something. So I thought about that, and I'm saying, well, maybe I should attack the problem from a different angle. They now have products that will clear out my dry mouth. They have. I went to Walgreens. They had it stocked. There's a rinse. They have gels. They have toothpaste, and a spray. Even I can spray it in my mouth. I said, well, I'll try that in order to cut down on this particular problem I have, and then maybe they get off my back about getting more fluoride.
Well, it's a good point, because water fluoridation is neither safe nor effective, right? So you have these when you're ingesting it. So they're saying, so if you're brushing your teeth, you're spitting it out. You're not exposing all these other studies that I'm talking about are about the brain, the thyroid, right? You're spitting it out, right? You're applying it to the teeth and you're spitting it out. When we're drinking it, that's when you're exposing the rest of your body. I mean, when you drink it, you only excrete out 50% of it. So you can imagine over a lifetime, for all the fluoride you take in, 50% of that gets stored in different places. The teeth.
So the kidneys actually do work sometimes.
Yeah, and actually, that people have to take that in consideration. Like I said earlier in the program, it really, when you look at it, you have to say, applying this to everybody. There are people in the community that if they have issues with their kidney, then they might not be able to drink the fluoridated water, because they won't be able to excrete as much as we can, as far as getting it out of your system. And if you look at another vulnerable population, which I think everybody needs to look at, and the CDC actually and ADA actually acknowledges at a point where when you look at infants, right, when you look at the size and weight of an infant and how much fluid they intake, right? So if you're reconstituting the formula with fluoridated tap water, then they are getting a significant amount of fluoride compared to their So when they mention these concentrations, 1 part per million, and just recently lowered to 0.7 parts per million
Here in Shrewsbury.
Here in Shrewsbury, just before, a month or two ago, lowered by 30% because they acknowledge that people are getting too much fluoride. It was 41% of teenagers are showing signs of dental fluorosis, so they know there's a problem with too much fluoride. Now we have all these products that contain fluoride, so they actually reduced it just recently.
Well, to me, it would make more sense that if somebody wants fluoride in their drinking water, is it relatively easy to add it into one's drinking water?
Yeah,
But it is very difficult to remove it.
Very difficult. Your filters will not remove it. So your carbon filters, my refrigerator filter, I actually I went and read the box on it to see if it would remove it. I didn't see it listed
Right.
that it was going to remove it, and then found out later that the carbon filters that you have, the pitchers and so you really don't have a choice once it's in the water. And I think taking that choice away is a big issue.
I think the
for a lot of
choice
people.
would be if you wish to add it, then you add it.
Yep. Or if people were going to go out and buy fluorinated water, it's easier.
Right.
Like that actually was marketed for a long time where they actually added fluoride to the water to say you could go out and buy bottled water that had fluoride in it.
Well, I don't know if this is a good analogy, but when we purchase coffee, is there any sugar in coffee? No, you make your coffee and then you choose to add sugar to it or add some type of artificial sweetener or don't add any sweetener at all, and then you consume your coffee that way.
Yep.
So it seems to me it should be the same thing with as many things as possible to have it that way, have the people make their choices.
Well, we're not
freedom.
addicted to fluoride, so maybe nobody would add any.
and it's a good point when we talk about coffee, because people have to think about is once it's in the water and in the communities around, now
Right.
you've got your coffee's got the fluoride in it, your water you're drinking has the fluoride in it. When you cook, you're cooking with the water and the fluoride's absorbed with the food. So now you're just not able to get away from it. I think it comes down to the ethics of forcing it upon people that don't want it. Right? It becomes should be a
I
choice.
think to me that is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Forcing up, it's we have the right and the freedom of choice, and
That's right.
that is being taken away from us. So that principle is definitely being violated,
Yeah.
and that is very bothersome.
Well, we spend a little time on fluoride,